when I'm ready. Hello and welcome everybody to another match of the Usumania Long Note Tournament. Today we're going to be seeing two pretty impressive players, Reyi and Flowerful, both being quite significant presences in MWC. But we'll be seeing them play specifically LN right now in this tournament. This is, I believe, a winner's bracket match, luckily, so neither team will, or neither player will be eliminated this round. But let's go on to picks and bans. As well, I will want to say, I'm not alone. I'm here joined by Yon Jin.
Hello everyone. Doing great. Finally watching this match, a very close match, 15th versus 18th seed. But both teams actually did have a very dominant match against their in the previous week. Only 1 point loss from Reyi and a sweep from flowerful. And let's see how they work on this slightly harder pool, but still easier than qualifiers.
That is definitely true. Both these players probably can play this. It's mostly going to be a matter of how well they can act. And I mean, as you did say earlier, this is going to be a pretty close match in terms of seeding, 15-18. And I feel like in round of 32, it actually matters a bit more. As we go further into the tournament, seeding matters a lot less. But I would say we're still decently early, so it's not a huge deal. I'm not sure what these players are going to ban. I do know Flowerful is a pretty good coordination player from what I know, so I would assume that they'd want to pick something into that. And Reyi being pretty well physically, I think they're probably comfortable on these more density picks.
Yeah, Reyi Ono is like a pretty speedy player. Absolutely very quick in that regard.
Yeah, but we'll just have to see. We are just waiting for things to go out. It is looking like Flowerful is protecting Wildcard 1. Maybe? I can't tell. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a protect. So Wildcard 1 isn't going to be banned. Guaranteed. Interesting to see that they are opting to, I guess, save it for later. Maybe they feel really comfortable on it, which is definitely a big thing since, I mean, I think most players like to play something that they feel really comfortable on.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what they're gonna protect, which we do see a very good protection from Flowerful. Reyi probably gonna protect some density pick, like density free, very straightforward type of stuff, but and all about the physicality of the map.
Alright, looks like technical 1 is going to be protected. So very similar to coordination, just a bit more awkward, I would say. I think that probably fits into maybe the idea that Reyi wants to pick into for this match, wanting to go for these more technical picks and maybe catch Flowerful a bit more off guard. And it's looking like we're going to see a Wildcard 2 ban. So yeah, I guess it's just time for Flowerful to ban. I would think they're probably going to go for a technical, or not a technical, since, I mean, we saw Reyi protect it, unless they're feeling really confident on all the technical picks. But we'll just have to see how it is. It is going to be technical 3, and we'll actually be able to see the next pick coming up soon as Flowerful decides.
I will see what he goes for a ban, and he's gonna go for the ban from the weirdest map of the pool. I'll say kind of the flowy dump map. Very high, very weird to play. Kind of maps on nothing. Not surprised that some of the players decided to ban it because it's a very weird map. Kind of the same as coordination 1.
Yeah. But it's looking like we go into our first map right now. It's going to be Wildcard 3. This is, I believe, Flowerful's pick. So, yeah. Definitely just wanting to play something that they feel decently comfortable on, I assume.
It's actually Reyi's pick.
Oh, it's Reyi's? Okay.
Yeah. Interesting choice to start things off on Wildcard 3. But this map, it's kind of also coordination type, honestly. Requires a lot of... Similar to last week, it has also a bit like stamina demanding, especially on the second Ki. And there's also some second half with less mini jacks, shields, and requires some stamina after all in this map.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So we will just have to see how these players are going to perform, since, I mean, I do think they're going to be able to play it pretty well. It's literally just going to be off of how well they can act it. I don't think they're going to really be missing all that much. If they do, it's going to be probably just like a random air that they find. But I think it's really going to be 200 counts that are the big thing, especially in these early games.
Yeah, especially being a winner's bracket match, it's all going to be about the ratios from each player. Of course, FCing is still very important, especially if you miss one, you're going to lose a lot of score on a map like this in this early stage. Especially some maps, I would say, shorter after all, such as like CO1, where there are a lot less combos and stuff, and a lot of players are finding a lot of like weird troubles on maps such as like CO1, which is very slow. And this one isn't the case though, and there's also some density after all in this map.
Yeah. So, just waiting on these players to ready up and start off the match. It's looking like it's going to be happening soon as we get into it right now. So yeah, let's see how these players will perform during the first map. I'm hoping to see at least 1990k. I assume that's not too much to ask, though.
Yeah, definitely. We have been seeing a lot of 990k throughout a lot of players, especially even from both sides in the winners brackets, as we're going to be starting off on our first map. A bit of a head start from flowerful on Reyi's pick, and may not be the best start for Reyi, but you know, it's only the start of the map and it's only 2-digit scoring difference. It could be flicker as long as Reyi gets back up to the ratio as flowerful right now, starting off on a very strong 99.9.
Yeah, both these player scores are extremely close. It is looking like it is slightly going in terms of Flowerful's favor. It has increased from a 3-digit range to about a 4-digit range, so it's fine for Flowerful right now, though it doesn't mean that they can really take a miss. With a miss, I think it would swing it over by around like 7 to 8k, just because the map is decently short. We're already a third of the way through, and we are seeing Reyi take a couple of accuracy drops. They have gone down from the 99.8 to this 99.76, whereas Flowerful has been maintaining quite well. And this lead has just expanded more and more for Flowerful as the map goes on. We are seeing a bit more of a awkward section right now with a lot more mini jacks sprinkled into the LNs. But it's looking like everybody's able to play it, even though Flowerful seems to be struggling a bit more. They still have this lead in the bag.
Might be because of the easier pool after all. We do know that Reyi has very high in terms of skill cap, but so could be said about flowerful. Sometimes just a bit like inconsistent on the qualifiers lobbies could give you a bit of a lower rank, but 15 to 18 after all, only 3 seed difference could be anyone's game, and it's definitely looking like flowerful's game right now, especially on Reyi's pick, and the lead has been extending to 2,000 points as we do see some bit more instructions being coming from Reyi. And now we're on to more of the coordinations and some mini jacks throughout the last part of the map, and we're gonna have even harder parts as this second half is gonna be even denser and requires even more stamina to pass through the final 10% of the map.
Yeah, the score lead has shrunk. It was at a tenth of a percentage a bit ago, but now it's gotten to about a 600th of a percentage. So as we go further and further, it's looking like Flowerful still has this lead. It's about an eighth of the map left, not too much for Flowerful to mess up on. And it's not looking like that's going to happen. It's just a sliver of map left. Flowerful is able to continue on, and it's looking like they will be able to take a first point, and let alone a first break point, which is really, really big.
it could win anyone's game, and Reyi probably did not expect that result here, having a less great count, but again, just the accuracy mattering. We know that Reyi has quite high skill cap, but apparently in some of the earlier pools, flowerful might be just a bit better in that regard on the ratio as well. Very wonderful ratio from flowerful and Sun Apple. Like I said, we got two 990s at the start of our match.
Yeah, I guess what I wanted to see at the start did happen in the end, which is really great to see. But it's now time for these players to pick Flowerful up, and I mean, I would assume they probably just want to go for one of the wild cards since they protected it, and there's still one open, I believe. Or no, maybe not the wild cards. Actually, that is interesting to see that Reyi did choose the wild card 1 or wild card 2, considering that Flowerful had protected it and they banned wild card 3. But yeah, I guess it's up in the air for what Flowerful will want to pick at this moment.
You assume he might want to avoid some of the more weirder maps. Not too sure what he is going for, as I'm not exactly too known from these two players outside of some of the other previous match scores, as we got a bit of a harder pool. Now, he said he might be gambling on density, but yeah, against Reyi, some of the more straightforward stuff, maybe going for the ratio battle could be the case here, especially density 3, a very straightforward map, but I guess he's gonna go for a density 2.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this is understandable. You did say this is a bit more of a straightforward one, and I think that kind of lends an opportunity for these players to mainly focus on their accuracy ability. And seeing that Flowerful was able to win Wildcard 2 just off of their accuracy, I think this is a pretty good choice since we know that Flowerful, at least in some of the more technical aspects, has the better ratio.
Yeah, this is actually quite similar to Wildcard 3 in that sense that a lot of drum stream requirements in that map, and basically very meta type, but it has a lot of drum stream compared to the same BPM as similar BPM as last week, which is density 3, and spikes a bit on the second part as well, and that could be truckable with some inverse sessions.
Yeah, we will have to see how it goes as we get into the next map. It is Flowerful's pick. They are up 1-0 after a breakpoint. So there is a chance for Reyi to come back and take another breakpoint right now. We are seeing them have a slight lead at this start, but that doesn't really mean all that much since, I mean, this map is not the longest, but also not the shortest. There's still a lot of it left right now, and it's looking like it could go to either side.
Yeah, so far a pretty decent head start from Flowerful, but again, Reyi just straight behind him. It's probably gonna be the same story as the last match. We did see a bit of a misjudgment, only less misjudgment from Reyi on the last match, on the last map. But again, it's all about the ratio, and Flowerful it's winning in the ratio battle. He is dropping a bit of accuracy though, so the same as Reyi. Still a nail battle, nail biter so far at the start of the map. We even see ties.
Yeah, and we are getting close to that tie mark. It is about 0.02% difference in this moment, and we are at the 3-digit range for Flowerful. And honestly, they need to keep up what little advantage they have. Any 200 will swing the lead. And both players doing extremely well. Reyi actually is the first one to take a 200. It doesn't drop from all that much just because there's a lot of notes in this map.
Yeah, after all, this is density. It's a real density map where there's just a lot of notes in the map in comparison to some of the other picks in the map, in the pool. 99.83 and 99.80, it's just a 0.23% difference between these two players, which can be said about the same as last map. One tiny bit of a misjudgment in a session from each player could swing it onto the other team. The lead has extended to 1,000 instead of only 3 digits, and we're already at the final part of the map. It seems like flowerful will be winning by a hair on 2 maps in a row. Another 1,000 points victory in this map. This time it's actually going to be the higher ratio from Reyi, but the misjudgment 6 from Reyi after all really hurts their score.
Yeah. So those 6 200s have been the difference. It's kind of crazy just because it's about less than 1,000 points right now, and it's mainly off those 6 200s, and probably less just because Ray's ratio is actually better. It's literally just this 200 count. So really, they just have to try to focus on minimizing those 200s whenever they can. But now it's time. Ray's pick. They will have a option to be able to come back from this. That luckily that was flowerful's pick, so it isn't a huge deal. That isn't. I would say that's a bit expected. So yeah.
It's kind of a risky pick. He's correct about bad choice though, and of course we are going to be seeing a wildcard 1 pick from Reyi, which is very interesting because flowerful is the one who protect the map. I don't think we have ever seen this before.
It is definitely very, very interesting to be able to see that happen. I think it's very rare if that is the case. Generally, it's whenever players have specific game plans into the match where they're like, oh, I don't really care about whatever my opponent protects. I think they're going to ban this, so I just won't think about it. But I will guaranteed play this map at a certain time in the match. And maybe that's just what happened to Ray. Both players may just feel really, really good on this wildcard. They may also have seen that LN or that wildcard 3 was pretty close, or wildcard 3 was pretty close, so they just feel decently confident in that.
Yeah, we'll see though, but this is not exactly like the same map as Wildcard 3, which Wildcard 3 definitely focus a bit more on the density, and this one is a bit more well-rounded, have some coordinations in this case, and also kind of all-rounded after all. We can see some of these like gimmicky, some parts with a bit of like rowy and gimmicky release could be definitely a bit tricky to players. So that's why Reyi think this is their shot, and they should be supposed in the lead because they have the higher accuracy. But because I do believe Reyi's client is like a bit seconds later, so flowerful it's in the lead. But now it's flowerful, the one who is in the lead again.
Yeah, we did see Ray take another 200 in that moment, and maybe another one, I'm not too sure. We saw in the last map, this has been decided on the 200 account, or 200 count alone from Ray. So they really need to stop getting those 200s if they want to be able to take these points. We are about at half the way through the map, and this lead is very small, but it's, I think right now, based off the 2 or 3 200s that Ray has gotten, it is still very, very possible for Ray to come back as long as they're able to stabilize for the rest of the map, because I don't think flowerful is going to stay in this range for the entire time.
And we do see Ray is starting to catch up in terms of lead, especially some accuracy drop from flowerful here. Now Ray should be the one in the lead, but it's by a tiny margin, probably a 75 points in favor of Ray. It's nail biter once again. It's 2 players just so close to each other. That's why their seeds are so close. They're on the same accuracy. It's probably 4 points in favor of Ray right now, and this might be why we decided to pick this map. It is a super risky pick after all, but in this case, when both players are so close, there are no safe sessions right now, and thankfully we saw a miss from flowerful, thankfully for Reyi.
Yeah, that miss was pretty clean, luckily, from flowerful, but I mean, a miss at this stage is devastating no matter what it is. We have seen that lead swing up to that around 4 or 5k range. And think about it, before, whenever this kind of accuracy lead had happened, it was only about like just barely 3 digits, just barely 4 digits. And instead, now it's at this 5,000 mark. It takes a lot to be able to come back from, and unless Ray takes another break towards this end, I believe they'll be able to take their first point in the match. And I don't think there's anything else to be able to choke on, and yeah, Ray will go up. Take a point. They are still in this match. They just need one breakpoint to even it up.
Wow, that's a boss move from Reyi here. This is what we call the Giga Chat move. I'll pick the map that you protect and I'm gonna win it. And he did it in that case. That's why he was confident about this pick. Even though in this case I would still say it's kinda weird strat because you're probably expecting the opponent to pick this map anyway. But you know, Reyi knows his strat and I guess he's gonna be picking Wildcard 1 and thankfully we'll go out for that.
Yeah, but now it's time for Flowerful to pick. They did get one blemish in their score lead, but is that really a big thing when you have a whole breakpoint up? You just got to secure whatever points you have, and you should feel pretty confident in your own picks. So really, I think Flowerful is still fine with this.
Yeah, he has a lot of raids to go, but I guess he's probably avoiding the weird maps again, which is going to be Coordination 1, Tactical 1, those two maps are very slow. Everything else seems like kind of pickable for him, and seeing that he was quite comfortable on some of these like wildcard and also some density maps as well. I do believe density 1 or density 3 going for some of these high ratio battles may also be working well for them, as Reyi is the one who has been dropping more 200s in that case throughout the entire match.
Yeah, I do think the density maps are probably pretty good since they will most likely just be straight rice, or not straight rice, straight act battles. Instead, we're actually going to be seeing Coordination 1. You did say that this is one of the more technical, or not technical, actually it's Coordination 2, never mind. I thought, yeah. So, I guess we'll see how this one plays out. I do think Flowerful will still have a slight advantage just because the difficulty isn't as high as some of the other maps.
Yeah, this map is quite heavy on the focus about the long note releases and such, and emphasis on the beats and more of a regular sound. Again, there's still a bit of some gimmicky sections though, and kind of mind blockable. Especially this map requires some readings after all in this map, especially on some of those in first two lines. Long notes coordinations could be trippy if you are not used to reading some of those parts.
Yeah, that's definitely very, very true. But now I guess we will just have to wait for these players to ready up. I don't know what is going to happen in this map. I really, really do hope that Reyi is able to take a breakpoint on it, and I do think it's possible. We have seen Flowerful take a miss during the match. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see this map become very, very close as a result.
I do believe Reyi, I would say both players are actually kind of similar in terms of skill sets. From looking at what they pick, Reyi probably have a bit of advantage on some very weird technical stuff, but outside of that I would say these two players are basically evenly matched and probably even more consistent on Flowerful side. So some of these accuracy maps may actually benefit them more, especially we see a 200 being dropped from Reyi there. A misjudgment is going to swing in favor of Flowerful. A very good head start for him, but he has to hold on this 99.85% because Reyi is right behind his health.
Yeah, even with that 200 drop from Reyi, they have been able to increase their accuracy once again. I feel like without that drop, they probably would have the lead in this moment. But as we go further and further, it's looking like Flowerful's lead is actually increasing by quite a lot. They are able to stay consistent in these more awkward releases, but actually they are the first to take a miss. It is looking just like that last map.
And also some misjudgment as well. After that mess, it's not looking a good heads up. Not a good look in the second part of the map. These two non-note reverse are kind of trippy in that way. We do see Reyi drop a bit of an accuracy, but still he's holding on the FC, and that's all it matters now. As a 5-digit, it's uncomebackable from just accuracy drops.
Yeah, but I mean, it's at 12k at this moment. Flowerful may have just taken too many accuracy drops. We will have to see at least one or two misses from Reyi, and they would have to be pretty dirty at that. And it's not looking like that happens. Reyi has been able to continually FC whatever map they have been forced to play, and it's looking like they will be able to take this breakpoint. Right now, it is even up 2-2. It is best of 5 at this moment.
It's getting a bit interesting now. Looking like a very good start from flowerful. Again, everyone, this match has been just so close. Once again, flowerful have less 200s. Worse ratio, but I do believe the 200 would have swung in favor of flowerful if that's the case. And Reyi should be feeling quite confident and happy that flowerful just missed twice on a map that they could have won. But yeah, what a evenly matched stuff. Do you believe Reyi used to have more stuff in the map pool left? Technical 1 and possibly both of the coordination maps should be quite suitable for his. I would say quite suitable for him to pick.
Yeah, I would say if I am Reyi at this moment, I would definitely try to pick something that is a bit more choke heavy, something with a lot of mini jacks, something with just really awkward patterns. So I would think that technical maps are probably what you should be picking at this moment. We will see how it goes. It's looking like Density 3 is actually going to be the pick, which is also interesting. I'm not a huge fan of this, honestly, just because, as I said, right now you're really winning off of flowerful's misses, if I'm going to be real. So it is what it is, but I don't know. We'll just have to see how it works.
I guess he's just confident in his own skill sets originally. Like I mentioned before, Reyi is quite high in terms of skill cap, and these are like speedy, straightforward maps. And it's definitely up couple of kick for him. This is 220 BPM, which is the highest BPM out of all the picks in this pool, but basically it's also the most straightforward map. It's all about physical demanding maps. It's what you call it a speed map. It's kind of a reverse of Density 2, where Density is a bit slightly lower BPM. The map is extremely dense. This map I would not say is extremely dense, but there is a lot of physical requirements just because of the BPM.
Yeah, that's definitely very true, but we will just have to see how it works out at this moment. I do hope that all these players will be able to continue to FC, but I mean, flowerful seems to have been struggling a lot with that right now. So I mean, it really is just going to be a match of how well flowerful is at this consistency.
This map, after all, is super straightforward. As long as you can play it, you can get a very high accuracy on it. Maybe some unlucky misses from one side could have swung it the other way. I expect flowerful 2 would have picked this after all. I guess his level 2 picks should be both of the density picks, and possibly technical 2. Actually, may also be coordination 3, but yeah, I do believe Reyi should have go for a coordination 1, and technical 1. But I guess Reyi feeling confident in his own skill sets originally, so going for density 3. We'll see does it works out. But again, I would say this is a super risky pick from Reyi, just like the last map, just like his last pick.
Yeah, I mean, everything's going to be risky when you're banking on misses, if I'm gonna be real. But starting off our map, this map isn't too long, so there is not a lot of room for error. Reyi once again having the disadvantage. We have seen this so many times, so it's not a huge deal. They do come back in the end when they have to. But flowerful continuing to have this lead. It is shrunk by quite a bit since Reyi has been able to stabilize since the start. We are a fourth of the way through the map. It is looking like the score lead is flickering for both these players. Their accuracies are basically neck and neck. They are the same, very little judgments. Off of ratio is the only difference at this moment.
This is up anyone's game. Just like what we call, I would say both of these players are so similar in terms of skill set. It's a 71-point lead in favor of Reyi. One single misjudgment from a player could have swung to the other team. You can see Reyi slightly a bit ahead in terms of accuracy, but like probably like 0.005 after all. And we do have the final sections of the map. The map does pick back up in the final 25% by quite a bit, so we're gonna get some more density sections. And I would say both of these players should not feel physical demanding, as I do believe they can play maps that is a lot harder than this.
Yeah, this definitely isn't physically demanding at all, especially considering that they are 99.88ing it, both of them. We are getting to this last sliver of map. Nobody can let up a single 200, let alone a few rush of regular 300s. It is looking like flowerful is in the lead since they are getting to that threshold between that 99.88 and the 99.89, and it's looking like they will be able to take the pick. This is another breakpoint for flowerful.
Oh my god, he just missed that by 14 300s. And
Yeah, that's kind of scary to see. I mean, right? Both players did get that V1 SS, but it's literally just off of a minuscule amount of 300s.
yeah, so now Paul, like I mentioned, I mean, we did say this pick is we did not think this pick is like absolutely the best for Reyi, and that's just the reason why Flowerful now in the lead once again, and will be the same story at the start of the match. He still have the next pick. I would say Density 1 should be his pick. And I think the second pick he will go for is probably Coordination 3, where you should be picking Technical 1, as that's like basically the last map. He hasn't picked and he protected it, so should be these 3 maps being selected from our last 3 maps. If we do see all 3 of them, now let's see what Flowerful picks. Again, like I mentioned, Density 1 should be what he goes for. After all, it's kind of similar to what he have been winning, what he also beating on accuracies against Reyi.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I can't see another map that's any better than that. Just because Flowerful has just been so consistent on this accuracy, even if it is just by a small margin of like 14 like we saw in the last map. We've been seeing other maps where Flowerful has just a lot better 200 count, so if you can get something where Reyi randomly gets 200s and you feel confident in not doing so, I think that is going to be the pick. But you also have to keep in mind you have to FC the map, so Flowerful really needs to do that.
There we go. He's like, he has no plans left. I mean, this is basically the last plan. I'm pretty sure Reyi just picked like most of the maps that Flowerful wants to pick. Like last weekend, this is the lowest BPM out of all density picks. It does quite some anchor handling and tiny bit of coordination as well, as there's a bit of like the way the releases, but again, because of density slot, after all, most of the snappings of the release are snapped to 1-4, so quite consistent in that regard.
I do think the consistency is definitely very, very good for Flowerful. I do think this map probably is a one where you can find a few random 200s, just because sometimes whenever you're playing 1-4 patterns, even though it is definitely very easy, it's just like, I don't know how to explain it. You just find randomly missed timings where you're like, oh, I thought that thing was going to release at this time just because of the song. And I feel like this map specifically is also one of those types where it's like really weird to be able to tell when you're supposed to be releasing.
Yeah, kind of actually, I do believe Technical 3 does have a bit of like similar in that regard, which probably the banner, but after all, this one is still a lot more straightforward. It's more about the density handling, it's not about the technical aspect of the map, so we'll see how Flowerful handles. Before this map starts, I'm gonna mention that another match is going on right now. It's also gonna be 3-2 in favor of Format, between Format and Minute 823. So very close battle on the other side of matches.
Yeah, but for now we do have to see this map. I believe this is one of the longer maps that we have seen, 3 minutes and 30 seconds I believe I saw. So this is there will be quite a bit of room for error for both these players. 300s and 200s won't mean as much, but for now Reyi does have the advantage. This is the first time we've seen an advantage for a while at the start for Reyi, but that doesn't necessarily mean all that much since this later half may trip them up.
This map is 3 minutes after all, so quite long after all. This is a very long pool, more room for mistakes as well. But the ones have been making mistakes are flowerful after all, so Reyi may be the one who is benefit by the longer length. Again, still up on the air, 100 points, not the closest score difference, but there goes a bit of a 300 being dropped from Reyi, and now the lead is flickered towards flowerful.
Yeah, this lead is kind of tiny right now. Flowerful having 1/100th of a percentage. Once again, we've seen this time and time again in this match. It's not like this is uncommon for these players at halfway through the map, so there is still time. We saw Reyi take a massive accuracy drop, just taking a lot of 200s and 100s. I think I saw a 100. I'm not too sure. But yeah, this is still a chance for Flowerful to have that exact same thing happen. They seem to have a bit worse ratio. So we will have to see them continue to just reduce their 200s as much as possible.
This is still so close. We have a bit of an inverse sections, a bit of a break soon, but before that we're going to be onto the second KI, which is again the most dense part of the entire map, and these densities, very dense stuff, seems to be benefiting Reyi by a tiny bit. And Reyi should be winning out after this chorus. After that, we'll be on to the break session, but still anyone's game of 0.03 score difference.
Yeah, a third of the map left. Flowerful not having this lead like they have wanted to have at the original start. Reyi having the slight advantage. We did see them stumble a bit earlier on, and maybe as we go further into the map, the mental stamina. This is a huge thing that some players are affected by, just because you have to focus so hard at being able to keep their ratio so high, especially in these earlier games. But it's looking like Reyi is still doing super well in this later half.
We have final chorus of the map left. It's all about this final session, and Reyi is not winning in the safely. It's still under 4 digit. We do have the most dense part of the entire map in the final chorus, but it's not gonna flicker towards the in-shape player, and it seems like Reyi is building a slightly bit of a lead as well, to a 4-digit lead, and I do believe Reyi just take back a breakpoint from flowerful, and that's going to be it. We are tied back once again, 3-3.
Yeah, there we go. Another breakpoint. I think this is like our third back-to-back-to-back, which is insane. These players really don't know what to pick at this point. It is now a best of 3. I wonder what's going to happen.
Okay, to be fair, you look at the rest of the picks left, you will think that Reyi should be the one have a bit more advantage on.
Yeah, you would think, but I mean, is that really the case when we've seen everything be so close? I feel like an advantage is very small if there is any.
True. Everyone has been avoiding the weird maps and picking more of the straightforward maps. I do believe every straightforward pick has been selected. The most weird map we have seen, I would say so far, it's probably like Wildcard 1, and everything else has been more the meta-ish, the generic side of the pool. I do believe there's still one Protect that hasn't been selected, and I think that should be the one that's slightly favored towards Reyi, but again, you can see that the other Protect, Flowerful protected, but Reyi won the battle. Would this be the case here? We'll be finding out in the next 3 minutes. It's time for Love Card Swing map of the pool.
Yeah, that's very true, and this is going to be Race Protect. Keep in mind, this is their last pick, so I do think this is probably going to be the best choice for them. Doing whatever you said you wanted to do at the start is always a good idea. I'm not sure what Flowerful is going to do after this, just because there is so many options, but first we'll have to see how Reyi is going to fare on their own Protect. Maybe we'll see the same thing as we saw on Flowerful's Protect, where they lose somehow. We've seen it a few times, I feel, so I don't know.
You might be correct about somehow we might be correct about the protest means nothing. Reyi just said he played the wrong death, and then flowerful said he did not play the map at all. So,
Oh,
very apparent.
these two are sight reading. That's great.
Yep. Apparently one thought this was Ado, but this is not Ado. This is Konoko. Another not actually different type of singer than Ado, and more like Udaide. In the Udaide community, sings a lot of songs, but yeah, the style of the song is quite similar. You got a bit of that edgy vibes and a bit of like swing vibes. After all, we'll see who handles some of these release these swingy rhythms better. So far, Reyi winning by nothing. They are tied.
Yeah, that's how it always is at the start of these maps. Reyi having... Actually, I was going to say having a slight advantage, but it looks like a few 200s came out from their side, and as a result, they have gone down. Flowerful may have done the same, but I mean, it's not a huge deal. We are a fourth of the way through the map, and I don't think we've gotten to the real section, if I'm going to be real. We are seeing quite a few 200s coming out from Reyi, so both players sight reading this. It's looking like the sight read's way better for Flowerful at this moment.
Yeah, still very close match after all, but Flowerful has been building up a bit of a lead here. And I guess the protect does not mean anything. Flowerful is in the lead all because of better in terms of some of these swingy handling in this map.
Yeah, and these swings rhythms, these swing releases have been messing up Reyi way harder than Flowerful, just because we saw it at the start. Reyi's 200 count is not the best, especially compared to Flowerful. Even if their ratio is a bit better, it's not a huge deal if you are just constantly dropping 200s, since they just mean so much more.
Yeah, still anyone's game because Flowerful actually drops a lot of 200 in that section as well, and now dropping down to 9, basically Reyi's level. Any misses could definitely swing to the other team, and we've been only seeing misses from Flowerful and none from Reyi. And final part of the map.
Yeah, Reyi has been able to stabilize since the start, and that's really great to see, since right now is so close. Flowerful has kept on this 9.72 to 9.73, but a 200 or 2 will swing it in this last quarter. We need to see Reyi either way increase their accuracy just a bit to be able to compete with Flowerful at this moment and not lose their protect. Maybe we will see another protect be lost as long as Flowerful is able to hold on. I believe this outro is pretty simple, and it's looking like it is going to happen as we go to the last sliver of map. Nothing too difficult for any of these players, especially in terms of physicality, but it's looking like Flowerful will go up. A 4th breakpoint in a row will be given.
Oh my god. And it's a 200 battle. It's the same story as like the maps that Reyi has lost on. A better ratio, but worse 200, worse misjudgment sessions from Reyi, and that's all. That's all about it. And Val will just win a technical peg, a weird peg. And that being said, we see the most risky pick of all. Coordination 1 question mark. I would say that map is extremely slow, extremely weird. Seemingly both of these players just kind of don't like to play weird stuff and density stuff. Just like to play density stuff, comfy stuff, and maybe Favo see that, oh, he might actually has a bit of advantage of weird stuff and go for coordination 1, but I do believe coordination 3 should be the pick here from Favo.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like going for a more awkward pick is probably what you want to see for Flowerful. Something that you can consistently FC, something that you can do really well on, but maybe somewhere that Reyi will once again find a bunch of 200s, since that's where Flowerful has had a significant advantage.
Meanwhile, the other match has ended already, and a 5-2 in favor of 4 Mouse, as 4 Mouse has picked it back up after the 2 double break on some of the maps that he got in. So we'll be moving on to the winners bracket, and Mina did a really good job after all, despite the seeding difference. Still takes 2 points off for amount and dropping down to loser brackets. Definitely one of the scarier players in the loser brackets we have right now, despite not the best seed. And now, back to this match. Still flowerful's pick. He does not know what he wants to pick.
I do feel like there's a chance that flowerful hasn't played the rest of the maps, and maybe just randomly is picking something or ask somebody to pick something for them. And they're picking Tech 3, which is... is it banned? I'm pretty sure it's banned.
Yeah, he banned it.
So, yeah.
And this is the match
Tech
of
2
all
is
time.
picked, I believe. No, Tech 2 hasn't been picked.
Yeah, Tech 2. Tech 2 is a pick here. Honestly, expecting more of a coordination free pick. I expect that to be what flowerful to be the most comfy on. A bit of a dumb piece of, I guess we'll be moving on to technical 2. These two players are just so close in terms of skill sets. So mix-up players does not know what they want to go for. This time, Technical 2 is not really polyrhythm. We did see polyrhythm on last weekend, but this is not polyrhythm at all. It's more what you call it a technical wildcard-ish map. Again, a bit of more meta type of what you see, what meta type of a technical map what you see in some non-long tournament. There's a bit of some shield requirement as well at the start, and not so stamina focused compared to the wildcard picks off the pool.
Yeah, that's definitely very true, and I do think this may give flowerful a slight advantage, but I mean, they really need to win this if they don't want to go to tiebreaker. I didn't want to say it from this for a while, but I mean, we're getting so close, I kind of have to mention it. Reyi just needs one more point to be able to get to that tiebreaker range. I don't know if tiebreaker has been played yet this weekend, but it'd be really, really cool if this was the first time.
Yes, we did see a tiebreaker we played earlier, yes, actually very early on. We did see a tiebreaker play yesterday, and it did end up, actually two, I believe. One end up in upset, and then the other one with Manwalshi winning it by 5-4. So I do believe we did see two tiebreakers already, and this might be the third one. Question mark. Reyi has to lock in on this pick. I mean, we did see more bits from flowerful after for the entire match, and this might be what Reyi needs. Again, flowerful should be tiny bit ahead in terms of last misjudgment, which we see right now.
Yeah, and I mean, we're already seeing Reyi take a few 200s. Their lead has dropped by quite a bit since the start. About the average amount, I would say. It seems like a lot just because these scores have been so high so far. A fourth of the way through the map already, and I mean, we saw that little intro section be quite bad for Reyi, so I'm hoping like if that happens again, they won't once again find those 200s that were pretty daunting.
Yeah, quite bad. It's literally 0.03, but that's what happens when you come up in such a high stake match. We did see another 200 being dropped from Reyi, so now flowerful will be building to a 4-digit lead. It's not really a dense sections, and this map is not long at all. Already halfway through the map, and flowerful building up to a very decent lead and slowly leading on by 0.1% in terms of accuracy. It's looking out quite well for him, but again, this map picks up in the second half, and there's where the hard parts comes.
Yeah, flowerful cannot choke that later half. We saw it earlier, they were the only player to actually miss in this match so far. Reyi has gone 7 for 7 for FCs right now, and they're trying to make it 8 for 8. But we'll just have to see how it goes in this last quarter of the map. We're getting into it, and Reyi has been able to keep or bring up their accuracy since the start, so as long as they're able to continue to do so, this will become extremely close. But it's looking like flowerful is just keeping stabilized throughout the entire time. They do find 200, evening up a bit more, and we're getting closer and closer to these accuracies.
Yeah, time is running out of Reyi. We only have 200,000 points left for each player. He needs a miss from flowerful anytime soon, or flowerful will be winning by quite an upset. It's only a 3-seed upset, but the upset is an upset after all, and he's doing it. We're on the last 10% of the map. Only 100,000 points left being scored from each player, and seems like flowerful is holding on the last part, and that's going to be it. flowerful will be beating out Reyi with a W on the technical 2, and I would say the technical 1 pick, the protect of Reyi, did not work out well, and that's what happens to the match. 0.04%. Reyi leading by 300, but losing out on a 200 misjudgment once again.
Yeah, good games for both these players. They played extremely well. Flowerful just barely even able to eke out the win. Definitely just based off their consistency on these more technical maps, I would say.
Yeah, he did miss more after all at the start of the match, but every time he missed less, he basically gets the W. And Reyi, a player probably will be stronger in later stage. After all, we did see he's a very high in terms of mechanics player. But in some of these earlier stages, he might just lost a bit on the misjudgment battle. Still, a player to definitely look out for in the loser brackets, and he will definitely come back stronger and possibly better and more advantageous as the pool gets harder. We're gonna get to see a bracket here, which Reyi did drop to the loser brackets, as you can see here. And Hugh and flowerful will be going up against the second seed, which is Paven, and that is gonna be a battle and a half. And he did upset a match though, where he upset the second seed. That is a very tough match for flowerful. And Reyi will be dropping down to the loser brackets.
Yeah. They will be playing the winner of Just Emilio and Senzawa, if that hasn't already been decided. I don't think it has, but we'll see it soon. Yeah.
We'll see it very soon because it's not the end of the week just yet. Remember, we do have Mapu Showcase after all at 0 UTC, so a very early morning for the Asians once again. Yeah, just Emilio and Senzawa will be having the match decided on 17 UTC today. But before 17 UTC, we do have a 16 UTC match between the Britain Brothers Battle, which is going to be Nuisance 1, 2, 3, 4 against Subin 4, two very big name players and the two players from the same country going up against each other. It's going to be an extremely fun match, and I would say both of these players probably a bit underseeded after especially Nuisance performance from last weekend. The easier pool, more benefit towards him. And still, we'll see who wins that match in the upcoming hour at 16 UTC, which is going to be 8 minutes after this.
Yeah, so I'll be there, so I'll see you then.
I'll be seeing you in 8 minutes.
Yep, see y'all, bye.